Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to piece together the incredible story of a lost branch of the human family, a mysterious and, well, highly advanced relative who walked the Earth right alongside our own ancestors. And believe it or not, this entire story kicks off with a single, tiny clue found in a remote Siberian cave.
All right, so let's set the scene. It's 2008. We're deep inside the Denisova cave in Siberia. Archaeologists are doing what they do, a pretty routine excavation, sifting through layers of history. And then they find something. Something small and totally unexpected. A fragment of bone that was about to rewrite the entire story of humanity. And what they pulled out of the ground? Well, it forced science to ask this really huge question about our own history. It suggested that our neat and tidy human family tree, the one we all learned about in school, was seriously incomplete. Like a huge, significant branch had been missing this whole time. So what exactly sparked this whole revolution? It wasn't some big, dramatic skull or a full skeleton. Nope. It was a tiny fragment of bone, so small you could easily overlook it, just unearthed from the dirt on the cave floor.
I mean, we are talking about the tip of a pinky finger. That's it. It belonged to a young girl who lived tens of thousands of years ago. At first, the researchers just figured, okay, probably a Neanderthal, right? That's a common find in that part of the world. But when they ran a DNA test, whoa, the result was just astonishing.
So get this, the DNA wasn't Neanderthal, and it wasn't us, Homo sapiens. It belonged to a human lineage that was completely unknown. Just like that, they had a new species on their hands. And because they found it there in the Denisova cave, it got a fitting name, the Denisovans. And with that one discovery, human history got a whole lot more complicated.
Okay, so finding a whole new human species? That's huge. But believe it or not, that was just the beginning. The real mystery was, who were these people, the Denisovans? Decoding their genomes started to reveal a lost legacy that, as it turns out, is still alive inside many of us today.
And the very first clue to what they left behind wasn't in some dusty cave. It was actually inside of us, in our own DNA. Genetic analysis shows that up to 5% of the DNA in modern folks across Oceania, Papua New Guinea, and parts of Asia comes directly from the Denisovans. This is stone-cold proof that they didn't just live near our ancestors, they interbred with them.
And it's not like they just passed on random bits of DNA. They gave us some incredible genetic gifts. We're talking about something called the EPAS1 gene, which helps modern Tibetans thrive at crazy high altitudes. They also seem to have passed on genes linked to a much more robust immune system and maybe even a larger brain capacity. These weren't just another ancient human. In a lot of ways, their genetics gave them a real edge.
But their legacy, it goes way beyond just biology. The stuff they left behind, the artifacts found with their remains, they suggest a level of technical skill and even artistry that feels completely out of place for the Stone Age. It just challenges everything we thought we knew.
Yeah, one expert put it perfectly. He said it was like finding an iPhone in an ancient Egyptian pyramid. And that really nails the shock and, frankly, the disbelief that went through the archaeological community. Think about that bracelet for a second, that 70,000-year-old bracelet. The tiny hole in it, it was made with a high-speed drill. That's a technology our own ancestors wouldn't master for another 60,000 years. And it doesn't stop there. They also crafted the world's oldest known sewing needle, a super precise tool from 50,000 years ago. I mean, while our ancestors were still working with pretty basic tools, the Denisovans might have been tailoring clothes. So it seems their incredible skill might not have been limited to just tiny, delicate things. It might have scaled up, way up, to massive structures that even today have geologists and historians just scratching their heads, right in what we now know was their backyard. Right in the heart of what we now know was Denisovan territory, in a place called Mount Sharia in Siberia, geologists have found these enormous granite blocks. We are talking over 3,000 tons apiece. To put that in perspective for you, the biggest stones at Stonehenge, they're about 40 tons. This is a whole different league.
So, as you can imagine, this has kicked off a massive debate. The mainstream view? It's all natural. Just a geological process called frost fracturing, where water gets in cracks, freezes, and splits the rock over thousands of years. But then you have others who look at the seemingly precise shapes and right angles and ask a pretty controversial question. Wait a minute, could this actually be evidence of engineering on a colossal scale, built by the Denisovans?
And this is where we hit the big, central paradox of the Denisovans story. You've got this species that seems biologically superior, with technology that was light years ahead of its time, a species that once populated huge parts of Asia, and yet they just vanished, leaving only a handful of fossils behind.
So the million-dollar question is, where'd they all go? Researchers have a few competing theories to explain what happened to the Denisovans. Let's investigate the prime suspects, shall we? All right, theory number 1 is pretty grim: prehistoric genocide. The idea is that as our own ancestors, Homo sapiens, spread across Eurasia, well, history tells us when two human species meet, usually only one survives. Were we the aggressive ones who wiped out our more advanced but maybe less numerous cousins? The second theory points to a natural disaster. A massive global cataclysm known as the Younger Dryas event about 12,800 years ago caused sudden extreme climate change and massive floods. Is it possible this event just wiped their civilization clean off the map?
Look, we might never have the final, definitive answer to why they disappeared, but their story, pieced together from just a few little fragments, fundamentally changes what we thought we knew about our own deep past.
What the Denisovans prove is that our history isn't this neat, straight line we once thought it was. It's this messy, tangled web of different human species, all interacting, competing, and interbreeding. We are only just now starting to pull at these lost threads to find entire characters whose stories are just waiting to be told, all from a single piece of bone. And that really leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending thought. If a highly advanced human relative can be almost completely lost to time, remembered only by a whisper in our DNA and a few confusing artifacts, what other chapters of our own story are still buried out there, just waiting to be discovered?